On that horrible day of September 11th, I was a journalist working for Canadian television, and I was in New York that day and for about 10 days afterwards. And I've been to 8 different war zones. I've been to natural disasters around the world, but there was something about September 11th that caught me in a way that I was unprepared for. I saw not only the tragedy of what had happened, when you went, for example, to Union Square and saw people with pictures of their loved ones trying to find anybody who had seen them, it was heartbreaking. But also I saw a lot of hope. I mean, as you walked around the streets of New York, there were volunteers literally passing out food, making sure that everybody had something to eat, and I realized that is the spirit of New York. That's what got everybody through. But also that was the signal to the rest of the world, the signal to Canada, that as bad as this was, there was a brighter day ahead, and that New York, and in fact the United States, was going to pull through. So when you go ahead now, all these years later, and think back on it, you can't help but say that spirit is still very much there. We live in a different world right now. It's a lot more complicated. It's a lot more difficult in many ways than it even was back then. But I think the takeaway for everybody, and certainly for us Canadians in all of this, is that your security is our security and vice versa. If you're safe, we're safe. And if Canada is safe, then the United States is safer. And that really guides us in almost everything that we do. We have one of the best borders in the world. It works brilliantly for trade and for people and families going back and forth. But what it also does, it creates this wonderful institution that keeps us safe. Nothing is perfect, but this comes as close to perfect as any border that I've ever seen, and we're going to continue that. So, to the spirit of New York, to the people of New York, you have friends all over the world, but you have no greater friends than the people just up the road in Canada.